know you're going to enjoy this, you sick, twisted people. We're back with Connor reacting to his beginning of the season predictions. Oh, this is going to be spicy. This is going to be enjoyable. Am I going to enjoy this? Probably not. Why? Because I presume I got quite a few things wrong. But what I will say, and what nobody ever applies to these things, is that C word, everybody. It is context. Now, context applied. I did this 9 months ago. You to all bear that in mind, everybody. This is previous. This is prior. Pretty much all of the transfer content. I thought it'd be a good idea to do it previous, prior all the transfer business that was happening in the Championship. I probably should have done it after. Lessons learned. Every day is a school day. I didn't, and this is what formulated my Championship opinion. So context once again, which I need you guys to remember for this video, but we did the top 8 positions, because in the Championship, it gets boring from sort of 9th to 21st. It is boring. I mean, there's a relegation battle. There was a brilliant relegation battle this year from 16th, 17th below to 22nd, 23rd. That was brilliant, to be fair. But normally, nobody really cares about sort of 15th to 9th. So I did the top 6, and I did sort of 7th and 8th because I wanted to. And 7th and 8th are very interesting picks from myself. But we're going to go through them. We're going to react to them. But yeah, I did 8th upwards, but I also did the bottom 3. So let's get into it, shall we? So, starting off with my 22nd pick. Who did you guys pick at the start of the season? I picked this side, and here was my rationale.
Set 22nd for me is QPR. There's no disrespect to Gareth Ainsworth here whatsoever, but it seems like the lunatics are running the asylum. It seems like Gareth Ainsworth is in charge of absolutely everything at this moment in time. Head of performance has been put into a monumental position, and it seems like Elias Chair and Willock, in my opinion, will be picked off by better teams at this moment in time.
So for me, not too bad. Now listen, when QPR came to Ellen Road earlier on in the season, they were atrocious, absolutely awful. And at the start of the season, I think they were everybody's pick to go down. Gareth Ainsworth seemed to be doing everything. He was the manager, he was the director, he was the physio, he was the kit man. He was doing everything. And at that moment in time, QPR looked like they were on a one-way mission to League One. So I was convinced that they were going to go there. I was convinced they were going to stick with their sort of previous player in Gareth Ainsworth. And listen, as I've mentioned previously, when they came to Ellen Road, they were awful. But boy, did they get us back under their new coach, who has done an unbelievable job. Shout out to him. Shout out to QPR. They've completely turned the season around. I mentioned Cher. I mentioned Willock. This was at the beginning of the window. I thought they were going to be picked off. They weren't picked off, and they've been absolute key parts of QPR's revival under the new man. So shout out to QPR. And I got it wrong. So guys, 23rd, this is what I said.
23rd, everybody, I've gone Sheffield Wednesday. I don't think they've evolved. Obviously, Darren Moore leaving the club by mutual consent, they've said, I think. But it looks like he was sacked because of disputes with him and Chansiri. Chansiri's already come out and with Cisco Munoz and just had a massive go at Carlton Palmer in a press conference, which was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Now, Chansiri, bit of a mental guy. He was having a rant and a rave about Carlton Palmer at the start of the window. He was coming out and saying stuff about Darren Moore. It's fractious at Sheffield Wednesday. It's always fractious at Sheffield Wednesday. And to be honest, I know they've stayed up. Danny Roll is an unbelievable manager, in my opinion. He's going to go to the very top. He's going to get picked off. And, maybe in the future, if something happened with Daniel Farker, we parted ways, whatever. Danny Roll would be... There's a lot worse shouts than Danny Roll. What an unbelievable progression he has had at such a young age. And what a fantastic job he has done at Sheffield Wednesday. But at the beginning of the season, context... Chansiri was having blows with Darren Moore. It was chaos, absolute chaos at Sheffield Wednesday. And I still think as soon as Danny Roll gets picked off by a better club, by a more sort of ambitious club, Sheffield Wednesday are going to drop like a stone because Barry Bannon, Josh Windass, is Iorfa still there? I don't know. I don't really care. But the standard of the squad is not good enough. We all know this. It's nowhere near good enough. And what a job Danny Roll has done. And, the job is just amplified by the quality of that Sheffield Wednesday squad. They stayed up. I was wrong. But let's be right, everybody. At one part of the season, we all thought they were sinking like a Sharon Stone. 24th, I think this was obvious to us all. What did I say?
Well, everybody, I think the next place for me, 24th, is going to be Rotherham. I think they're going to struggle. Dylan Phillips has come in. Cafu's come in from Nottingham Forest. I think that's a bad signing. I just think they're going to struggle this year. I don't think there's enough depth there. And yeah, I've got them in 24th, really. It's a bit, some might say it's a bit of a lazy pick, but I just see them really struggling this season. When you're looking at the side, I'm looking at it right now, I'm not seeing any stars in there that are going to be able to elevate them, really. Cafu might do a job, but really, I think they're going to struggle.
So yeah, there we go, everybody. Rotherham, not much more needs to be said. Atrocious season. It feels like they are the yo-yo club of the Championship/League One. Standard pyramid. I don't know how they're ever going to develop. Do they just need a little bit of investment? Probably like any other club. It's going to be difficult for Rotherham, but listen, they just need to be making wise appointments. But it's always going to be difficult for a club the size of Rotherham to be able to compete. You know, we always talk about a division between the Championship and the Premier League, but they almost need a division between League One and the Championship. So in that bottom three, I got one right. But listen, I was doing this, I keep saying this right at the very beginning. Ainsworth at Wednesday, awful. Darren Moore, Chansiri kicking off with each other. Oh, it was chaos. But yeah, I got that wrong as well. So 2 wrong, 1 right. And I ain't looking forward to this last leg. Right, everybody, so we'll start with 8th. This is what I said.
So with new American owners, Birmingham City look like they are on an upward trajectory. It's been absolute carnage for Brum on and off the field for the best part of 10 years now, but it looked like they've got it right. An American-led takeover. John Eustace saving them from relegation last season and getting a lot of plaudits, a hell of a lot of plaudits from the media and, you know, Birmingham City fans in themselves as well. I think Eustace will do well. Looks like a young manager who's going to really galvanise that Birmingham side this season. Obviously, he's had a fair few additions as well. They've had Dembele and Dion Sanderson who've come in, who I think will do well for Brum. But I think this season there's been a perfect blend. There's been some good signings that have come in, those two in particular. And I think Birmingham are going to be on a real momentum wave this year.
So everybody, listen, I was excited. Tom Brady came in. American owners were through the door. John Eustace was there. John Eustace, who beat Leeds United twice this season, Birmingham and Blackburn, and we didn't score against him twice. Brought a few players in after the American owners had come in as well. There was a lot of buzz about Birmingham, a lot of buzz at the start of the season. But if we're being brutally honest, it completely went away. And if you'd have told me at the start of the season, with everything that had happened at the beginning of the season, with the new ownership, you know, Dembele coming in, Sanderson coming in, other players coming in, and they get relegated. I mean, that decision to sack Eustace, and then Eustace has stayed up with Blackburn, and then bring in Wayne Rooney was probably one of the worst decisions we'll ever see at Championship level. So you've dug your own grave, Birmingham. Sorry.
In 7th, I've got Stoke City. I think they've done some excellent business this year. I'm a massive fan of Alex Neil at Championship level. I always think if you actually saw Alex Neil with a proper side, let's be honest, we as Leeds fans, we've all been talking about Daniel Farke at Norwich. You know, you look at that Alex Neil side, that Norwich Alex Neil side, they were absolutely fantastic. In terms of quality and depth and in being able to get the best out of them. And I think that's what he's done this season at Stoke, this transfer window at Stoke. Obviously, they've got the players who were there last season, the young players who have now been perfectly blended with a bit of experience. You've got Jacob Brown, formerly of Barnsley, who I'm a massive fan of, Championship level, who's growing into his role now at Stoke City. You've got Tyrese Campbell, who's there as well, the striker, who's always been dangerous. And now you've blended it with some of these signings, everybody. They've got Edna Stevens, obviously a promoted player. You've got Mark Travers, obviously, you know, previously at Bournemouth. Daniel Johnson, Ben Pearson's absolutely perfect for them as well. To conclude, I think they've got a real mix of quality and experience for that league. And led by Alex Neil, I think they're going to be a real threat this year.
Stoke, it's the squad, isn't it? And as I mentioned, I thought they did have the blend, the experience. Obviously, they finished lower. But it's really weird with Stoke. They've got this high wage structure all the time in the Championship. And I felt with like Pearson, I felt with other players coming in, I felt with Alex Neil. Obviously, that didn't go well. But Alex Neil in there as well. I thought they'd at least be challenging. I thought the rationale was there for Conor McGilligan to get this right. And I got it absolutely wrong. I have to apply context to all these things because I've got it so wrong. Now let's get into who I thought was going to finish 6th.
Well, 6th, everybody, you know who it is, and this is where some of you might slop the video off. It is Leeds United. I think Leeds will finish 6th. There's no... For me, there's still a lot to do, and will that get done? Who knows? We might know in the coming weeks if they'll get some stuff done. I think in pre-season, in the past couple of games, they've been really good. They've been really, really good. But I think at the minute, it feels very short term. And I think when the season starts and 50 games are being played, Leeds United are really, in my opinion, going to struggle with the depth that we currently have. Centre attacking midfield, no one. Right-sided centre-back, apart from Charlie Cresswell, no one. And he's a young man trying to really get into the swing of things in the Championship. The centre part of midfield, will we keep hold of Tyler Adams? I don't know. Then you're going to have to recruit again with the money you get from him. We still need a central attacking midfielder. We still need a striker. We've had 2 players who've gone off injured in the recent game up front. I think the board have got to, and you're hoping that they will, but there's real in my side, even highlighted by the manager. The manager is saying it after every single game, players need to come in. And I think the profiles of a player that Daniel Farke needs to be successful, I think still need to come in.
So, okay. Calma. At this moment, we had Gelhardt up top, Shackleton right wing, Drame at the back. I think I said previously that he'd gone to Birmingham. He hadn't gone to Birmingham at this point. It was kicking off, I think, with Nonto. Perot hadn't come through the door. Ampadu hadn't come through the door. We still had that leech Tyler Adams, who literally kicked off massively and was kicking off massively in this period, saying, if you don't let me go, I'm going to take you to court, to Leeds United. We knew none of this. Leeds United had Cresswell at the back. We didn't have Roden on at this point. It was chaos. Junior Firpo wasn't fit. Pat Bamford was in and out of fitness. It was an awful side at the beginning of the season. I think I've been generous here. 6th. In reality, if that team would have gone into this season, would have finished at 15th, 16th. 100%. 100% would have been a whipping boy for a large portion of the season, in my opinion. So 6th, I was being positive. But there you go. I had Leeds United in 6th. Now 5th. Let's see who I had.
But I just think Michael Carrick at this level is a very, very decent manager. The blend of football he plays is very, very good. And I completely rely on Steve Gibson as a chairman to get more deals done and to be able to back Michael Carrick. And yeah, I really think the evolution of him at Middlesbrough is going to be something which is going to get him a top job. And I think it's going to be interesting to see this season whether or not a Premier League club comes in for Michael Carrick. But I do trust the backroom staff to be able to back him. And I do think Chuba Akpom is going to come back and do well in that number 10 position. They've got Rodgers up top, who has now replaced Archer. Carrick's come out and said that he's going to be the number 9 going forward. Is that going to work? You've still got Hayden Hackney in there, who's a terrific player. I think Borough are going to do okay this season.
Really good end to the season, Borough. I think we were pretty much the chink in their armour. I thought they'd made, at this point, Chuba Akpom, obviously, things happen with Chuba Akpom in terms of transfer. Archer had just left, and obviously Rodgers was supposed to be a key part of Borough's season. Rodgers then went to Aston Villa. Obviously, Akpom, wasn't then available, and then obviously they went on to bring Latte Lath in, all this sort of stuff, and then they had some decent transfer business towards the back end. Kept hold of Hayden Hackney, but I think he had sort of bouts out of the side as well. So it wasn't consistent for a large period for Borough. But listen, towards the back end of the season, they were one of the form sides, and I don't think 5th for Borough was out the realm of possibility. Now 4th, everybody, and I'm pretty happy with this. Not for where I've put them, but because of what I said.
Put them in 5th. They absolutely battered League One last season. They finished 2nd, but they were still unbelievable. A plus 66 goal difference, a 6-0 win on the last day of the season, and it is momentum City, in my opinion, for Ipswich Town. Kieran McKenna has got them playing fantastic football. Nathan Broadhead, Connor Chaplin were standouts last season. Wes Byrne in there as well. I think they'll acclimatise to the Championship very, very well. We've seen double promotions before with the likes of Norwich, the likes of Southampton. I think this side replicates it really, really well. They seem to have everything sorted on and off the pitch. And yeah, I expect this Ipswich side to just continue. I really think that they're going to build, and I think the permanent signings of Jack Taylor and George Hurst will only aid that. I think Kieran McKenna is going to go on a bit of an assault this year when it comes to Ipswich. I think Portman Road's going to be a real fortress, and I've got them in 4th. Probably the biggest shout of the video, but I think you potentially could be looking at a double promotion this season. We've seen it before, and I think Ipswich have got all the minerals to do it.
So there you go, everybody. I just had a feeling with McKenna's men, they were going to do something, and they've had a transformative couple of seasons. They've done what Norwich did. They've done what Southampton did, but they've also racked up, plus 200 points over 2 seasons. Unbelievable achievement. Ipswich fully deserve to be in the Premier League. Absolutely incredible from Kieran McKenna and his staff. Fair play. Third. Oh dear.
Sunderland.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Now, I watched Sunderland a couple of times last season, and I thought they were thrilling to watch. I thought they were fantastic, which is quite unusual for a Tony Mowbray side, without any disrespect. I thought they were fantastic to watch. Jack Clarke, Roberts, Diallo, Mishu, Ross Stewart when he was available. And I just think they've got the everything sorted off the pitch when it comes to almost a Moneyball approach. They've almost copied Brentford, and you can see that with some of the signings. Even this window, obviously with like Joe Bellingham coming, Sealt coming in from PSV under-21s, Meander coming in as well. They're going for technically young players, but they have the blend of experience there as well. Ross Stewart is probably going to be back at the start of the season and fit and firing. And you've got a player there who is going to get 20 goals minimum.
Now, I did mention Ross Stewart at the beginning of the season. There was rumours that he was coming back, and then I don't know if he came back and then knackered himself again when he signed for Southampton. At this point, Ross Stewart was at Sunderland, by the way. He'd done really well in League One, and he was back. Basically, he was back, and I thought to myself, right, he's going to get back into contention now, and he's going to bag 20 goals. The standard isn't that great when it comes to defensives in the division. Jack Clarke's there. He's going to rip it up as well. Sunderland have got a good foundation, bit of a Moneyball approach. They're going to finish third. Season previously, they'd done really well. Obviously, they've been in the playoffs, and I thought they were going to improve. That didn't happen. Sunderland have just completely bombed it towards the back end of the season. They then sold, obviously, Ross Stewart to Southampton, who, didn't have him playing all season, and he was only back. And he's probably going to be fit this weekend, isn't he, for Leeds United in the playoffs, for Southampton against Leeds United in the playoffs. But yes, I said that they were going to finish third. That is the worst shout so far. Absolutely embarrassing. I can only apologise. So, second, everybody, here's what I said.
I just feel with this squad that they've got, is it Mavdidi who's just been brought in for about 8 million, and Ndidi, Castagna, Dewsbury Hall, Vardy, Pereira, Faze, Iverson, Daka, Iheanacho. They brought in Cody and Winks, who I don't think are unbelievable signings, but is that just to blend a little bit of top league experience with the current crop potentially? But I just think their quality at this division is going to be too much. The Dewsbury Hall, how similar to Leeds fans talking about Sinistera, he should not be at this level. I think when he's been conducting midfield games in the Premier League, he's looked fantastic. And I really think that this Leicester side has just too much depth. It's got too much quality and depth. And if these players are up for the fight, which I think the main thing is for Maresca to get sorted, if he can get them up for the fight and get them motivated for this season, I think I can't see anything but a top 4 finish.
So I think I sort of got it spot on with that, really. I'm not too upset with what I said about Leicester. I thought, Maresca, it was either going to work or it wasn't going to work. I know that sounds a bit docile, but I think, I could take charge of that squad. I could take charge of that squad halfway through the season. It should probably go up. At that point, they still had Castagna. They still had a couple of other members as well. But largely, the names that I rattled through, which was like, 7 or 8 players there, in Ndidi, Daka, Vardy, Dewsbury Hall and co, they all stayed. They all stayed. So that is why Leicester should have gone up. It'd have been probably one of the biggest embarrassments in Championship history if that squad hadn't gone up. So, yeah, second in the division, didn't quite get it right, though. And number 1, everybody.
So I said Southampton, I think they'll win the league. I said at the start of when they were relegated from the Championship, I think they're going to be, because nobody's going to come in and pick the best players, which, you might see Lavia going out. Is West Ham going to meet that valuation for James Ward-Prowse? They seem miles away at the minute. Livramento, apparently there's a couple of disputes with him going to Newcastle. But would you expect Southampton to replace well? I would expect them to replace well if they're able to get 16 million for Livramento, 40 million for James Ward-Prowse, 35 to 40 million for Lavia. They're going to bring in some talent.
So it looked like Southampton were literally going in to the Championship season with an absolute all-star team at this level. So I just thought, well, they're going to blow it away. And I genuinely believe, obviously, if those 3 had been available in the Championship, they would have blown it away. 100%. They're too good. But at the end of the day, they were sold on. And this is why Connor should wait until transfers are thoroughly done, so we don't have to apply so much context. But I had Southampton in first. How many did I get right? I don't know if I got any right. Rotherham. Yep, so I got one position right in 11. Yep, in 11. Okay, we'll end the video there. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye.